Curtis Blaydes versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik takes place this weekend on the main card of UFC 266 in the heavyweight division. The big boys are in town. Number 4 in the world, Curtis Blaydes, versus number 6 in the world, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Two top heavyweight contenders in different situations. Curtis Blaydes needs to bounce back after a brutal KO loss to Derek Lewis 6 months ago by one-punch KO in the second round, and there were some follow-up shots afterwards that were very, very brutal. It was a terrible KO loss for Curtis Blaydes. He needs to get back in the win column against another dangerous KO artist in Jairzinho Rozenstruik, number 6 in the world, in a different situation, but he recently bounced back after a bad performance against Ciryl Gane, where he basically just stood there and just watched himself lose for 5 straight rounds because he had no idea what to do against a guy like Ciryl Gane. Now we know just how good Ciryl Gane is, however, doesn't make the loss look as bad as maybe it did in the immediate action whenever Jairzinho Rozenstruik just literally stood there and watched Ciryl Gane just waltz his way to a decision win against him. Very interesting performance by Jairzinho Rozenstruik, but he bounces back with a vengeance against Augusto Sakai, KOs him at the end of the first round brutally. Very good performance there. Quick KO in the first round, back in the win column. Now he's looking at a top contender in Curtis Blaydes to push him into the top 5. This is a huge fight in the heavyweight division. I do believe that Curtis Blaydes will be bouncing back, but it is a very dangerous pick because, of course, Jairzinho Rozenstruik does have that KO power, and Curtis Blaydes just got KO'd. And again, I'll mention this one more time. It wasn't a regular KO. It was a lights out nothingness, wake up wondering what's happened kind of KO from Derek Lewis, and there were follow-up shots afterwards, and he got mocked afterwards by Derek Lewis's fans. They called up his phone. They said, haha, you got knocked out, to his face over FaceTime. I mean, he was getting tormented on social media after Derek Lewis put him out cold. He's okay. Are you okay, Curtis? That kind of situation. If Curtis Blaydes wins this one, though, he's in a good position to get another good win afterwards. Whoever wins this one is going to need 2 good wins to even put themselves anywhere near title contention in the heavyweight division. We need to move forward right now at heavyweight. We've got an interim belt. We've got a regular belt as well. Not a regular belt, an actual belt compared to the interim belt. Stipe Miocic feels like he's earned a title shot. Derek Lewis is obviously a top contender as well. I feel like they're probably going to do Stipe Miocic versus Derek Lewis, and then the winner of Curtis Blaydes versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik, I guess, can take on the winner of Alexander Volkov versus Marcin Tybura. Maybe that would be the matchup that they go for. It's a good matchup. Heavyweight's real fun right now. Lots of good contenders, and this is a great matchup. Let's talk about who I think is going to win. I do believe Curtis Blaydes has this one in the bag. As I said before, it's just the grappling, right? Jairzinho Rozenstruik has a real problem in his grappling. I know he stuffed some takedowns from certain contenders, like I believe Augusto Sakai had him against a cage at one point, but didn't really try and do anything to Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Just kind of sat on the outside, plodding around, not pressuring in any way whatsoever, not committing with any shot in any way whatsoever. He was completely terrified of Jairzinho Rozenstruik's power, and he just didn't do anything the entire time. So, until he got KO'd at the end, of course, that's when he did actually do something, and it actually helped out Jairzinho there. It made a real nice KO loss. Jairzinho moves forward. I do believe Curtis Blaydes is on a different level than these other heavyweights, like the Augusto Sakais of the world. I believe Curtis Blaydes would do whatever he wanted with Augusto Sakai, but then again, Rozenstruik did destroy him in the first round, and Rozenstruik does have that weird power that he used on Andrei Arlovski, that he's used before in his fights as well, that he used on Overeem in the 5th round, but Overeem got back up and it was a bit of a weird stoppage. I never really know how I feel about that one between Overeem and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Overeem was fine at the end of the fight. They called it off. He was winning the whole time. But it was a closer fight than some people suggest, because Rozenstruik was doing actually kind of okay against Overeem, but he was losing, and more importantly, he was losing in the grappling. And I know that he can improve those things, and maybe he can improve his takedown defense and his overall balance in certain situations. However, he's not a big guy for the division, and there's only so much you can do. Just if he caught up to Curtis Blaydes in terms of grappling, he still wouldn't be able to stop the takedowns because of the size difference. Like, you have to be equally as good as Curtis Blaydes and equally as big as Curtis Blaydes to hold your own against him in a grappling situation. I know Derek Lewis stuffed a couple of takedowns, but again, Derek Lewis, huge guy for the heavyweight division, decently good balance, has worked on a takedown defense, has been grappling in MMA for a very, very long time, looking better than ever recently as well. Curtis Blaydes also took a lot of bad shots in that one. I feel like he was kind of a little bit stupid as fuck in that matchup against Derek Lewis. Throw some punches and then shoot a takedown, Curtis Blaydes. That's what he's done so well throughout his entire career, but he chose not to do it against Derek Lewis. But he faked a shot at the end of it, and the only time he actually did go for a punch combination to a takedown, he got slept with a brutal uppercut. So maybe this makes him hesitant. Who knows? But I do believe Curtis Blaydes is going to go out there. I think he's got the cardio advantage. It's only a 3-round fight as well, which I do believe heavily favors Curtis Blaydes. He can use more energy for a takedown that he needs in that early round opening, knowing that he doesn't have rounds 4 and 5 to worry about later on if he exerts too much energy. We saw him slow down against a guy like Alexander Volkov. I think that's completely neutralized in a 3-round fight. I believe we see Curtis Blaydes go out there and get a TKO win in the second round against Jairzinho Rozenstruik with elbows, similar to how he did it against Alistair Overeem and Shamil Abdurakhimov. I think he has a vintage Curtis Blaydes performance because Jairzinho Rozenstruik, regardless of what the stat page says about him being 6'4", he's not 6'4". He's probably about 6'1" in the heavyweight division. He's not too muscular, in all honesty, either. I think he's going to get toppled over by Curtis Blaydes. It's just if Curtis Blaydes gets clipped in the meantime, because I do believe the first takedown Blaydes is going to shoot, I think he's definitely going to get it against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. He had trouble with Junior Dos Santos. Dos Santos has great takedown defense. He got shown that and had to learn that after the Cain Velasquez battles that he had. Plus, he's a big guy for the heavyweight division. The only people who have been able to do anything against Curtis Blaydes' takedowns have been massive people that have been grappling in MMA for a very long time. Derek Lewis, Alexander Volkov, JDS as well. Other than that, Curtis Blaydes seems to ragdoll everyone. I think he's going to ragdoll Jairzinho Rozenstruik. The bet to make here, I guess, if you want an underdog pick, is not just Jairzinho Rozenstruik, but Jairzinho Rozenstruik in the first round, I would assume, is a good bet to make here. I don't see him winning any other way other than catching Curtis Blaydes coming in with like a check hook or something like that. But I can see Curtis Blaydes going out there, starting strong, starting fast, throwing a lot of feints. And we've seen this before when someone actually has some sign of confidence against Jairzinho Rozenstruik and they're out there and they're feinting and they're going for techniques, Jairzinho kind of shells up a little bit. So I think if Curtis Blaydes goes out there, tests out a bit of stand-up, throws some stiff jabs, doesn't really trade any big hooks or anything like that, I don't think he wants to get caught up in that battle with Jairzinho Rozenstruik. You can't swing like a maniac against Jairzinho unless you're Ngannou, I guess, because even then, Jairzinho landed a couple of good counter shots on Ngannou as he was rushing forward. However, it's Ngannou, so he doesn't actually have to be good at striking to win a striking match, because he's Ngannou, I guess. But Curtis Blaydes is actually a pretty decent technical striker now. Looked good against Derek Lewis. And listen, man, it's kind of fluky, Lewis's wins. So I don't know how much I take away from it, though. I take away more from the Overeem loss of Rozenstruik's career. You know what I mean? And the Cyril Gane loss of Rozenstruik's career than I do the loss of Curtis Blaydes against Derek Lewis. Because Derek Lewis is just a fluke artist. That's all he is. That's all he ever was. Sometimes he lands a big KO punch. Sometimes he doesn't land a big KO punch. It's Derek Lewis. It's just a absolute gamble every single time you go out there. Who's to say if they kept going in that fight, Curtis Blaydes wouldn't have just kept chopping at Lewis's legs, kept landing good shots on Lewis again, and eventually just worn him out and destroyed him in a decision, or took him down in the later rounds and started pounding on him. There's so many other ways that fight could have gone, but Lewis brings that luck factor. Jairzinho has it as well, but I don't think he has it as consistently as Derek Lewis does, or as late into a fight as Derek Lewis does as well. So I think if Jairzinho doesn't get this done in the first round, it's going to be a real problem for him. I know he dropped Overeem in the fifth, but Overeem's pretty chinny, and even he got right back up afterwards with a split lip hanging off. I feel like Curtis Blaydes is going to go out there, land some good stand-up shots, mix in a little bit of a takedown, just grab the leg out from underneath Jairzinho Rozenstruik, topple him over, get on top, and Jairzinho has shown a little bit of ineptitude at getting back to his feet while he is on bottom. He just seems to keep his knees up to the sky and not let people take him out. I'm burping through this. He seems to keep his feet up to the sky, or his knees up to the sky, which is good because it stops people passing your guard. but that's all he kind of does. He just makes sure he stops people getting full mount. They can get side control on him, and he'll actually sit there like it's okay. Against Overeem was inside control on him, landing some good shots, some total strikes here and there. Rozenstruik was mainly content on just not letting Overeem mount him or take his back or anything like that. And eventually he would try and get back up, but it wouldn't work out for him, so he'd have to wait till the end of the round. Even against Junior Albini in the first round of their fight, he finished Albini in the second round with a head kick. In the first round of their fight, Albini was winning against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Maybe not winning, but it was a close fight, and Albini was on top of Rozenstruik at the end of the first round, inside control, doing some good work. And Rozenstruik doesn't really have too many answers against that level of opponent. So I don't see how he's going to have those answers against Curtis Blaydes now. Because it's the heavyweight division, there is always that chance that skill doesn't matter whatsoever. And maybe Rozenstruik just KOs Curtis Blaydes. And that's that. And then we're talking about Rozenstruik versus the winner of Volkov versus Tybura. I get it. I truly believe Curtis Blaydes has this one in the bag. I don't know if he's going to become a champion in the division anytime soon, but I really do like the way he mixes in takedowns with his stand-up. And I think he goes out there and gets this one done. I just think there's nowhere for Rozenstruik to go here. He's smaller. He's shorter. He doesn't quite have the reach that Curtis Blaydes has. Blaydes uses a lot of good kicks recently as well. A lot of good leg kicks from range that he's going to use to find range against Rozenstruik. Slowly work his way in. Rozenstruik doesn't have range. Doesn't have size. Doesn't have the intimidation factor even in the cage. Blaydes weighs in at 265 in his last bout. And Rozenstruik weighed in at 242 pounds. If Blaydes is on top of him, he's got about 20 pounds of lean muscle on him. And I know that doesn't sound like it's realistic, but Rozenstruik is not lean muscle. He's a little chubster of a heavyweight. And I know he's got good power, and he can land that KO blow. I just truly believe there's great money on Curtis Blaydes. I really do. I don't see this one going Rozenstruik's way. And I can see him just being a little bit hesitant out there because Blaydes is so big. And I think he's going to command the octagon early, be a bit more intimidating, try and push Rozenstruik back against the cage, really try and take the center of the cage. Big steps, big stomps around the cage like Curtis Blaydes usually does. Leg kicking from the outside, couple of jabs, never commit with any hooks whatsoever. This is what I'd be telling Curtis Blaydes if I was in his corner. Eventually, when Rozenstruik starts to feel like he's behind, around the second waypoint, the second half of the first round, whenever things are a little bit more sweaty, Rozenstruik's legs a little bit beaten up, maybe you've tagged him with a couple of jabs and found your range, then you can try the jab, dip underneath, scoop up the double leg, scoop up the single leg, whatever you want to do, and take Rozenstruik down and get yourself a TKO. I don't think it will happen in the first round, though. I think Curtis Blaydes is going to go out there, take down Rozenstruik in the second half of the first round after feeling him out with some leg kicks and jabs. Then Rozenstruik is going to get back up at the end of the first, look very mentally defeated in his corner. Coaches are going to be trying to amp him up. He's sweating all over. He's been on bottom against Curtis Blaydes for about 2.5 minutes of the first round towards the end. And then in the second round, I think he's going to be so hesitant about being taken down again because it happened the first time that he's going to completely freeze up, not want to throw anything, not want to overcommit with anything, try a couple of shots maybe here and there, but they're all going to get smothered, and Blaydes is just going to push him against the cage, scoop up the double leg again, because if Overeem can take you down a year ago, Blaydes did what he did to Overeem. And Overeem's got great takedown defense himself and great grappling himself. We even saw that with Overeem against Augusto Sakai. I truly believe Blaydes has this one in the bag. I'm very confident in that. So, we'll see if Jairzinho Rozenstruik fucking Derek Lewis is his way through this. I don't see it happening. I don't think he has the same power as Derek Lewis. And I do believe Blaydes has a good chin. I know he's just been KO'd, and maybe his chin is going to be a little bit worse now, I understand. But I think he's going to be okay out there, and I think he will scoop up the takedown, be a little bit more intimidating in the second round now that Rozenstruik knows that he can be taken down, and then Rozenstruik's in a freeze up, get taken down, Blaydes will get side control, land some good elbows, take mount, couple of good elbows again, and Rozenstruik will just cover over, shell up, fight back, get out of there, Jairzinho, and then they're going to step in and stop the fight because Jairzinho's just shelling up, not taking anything, and taking too much damage. I don't think he's big enough to be a heavyweight. He might just fluke a KO blow. It could happen, I understand, but I don't see it happening. The winner of this fight, though, can take on the winner of Volkov versus Tybura. That's in October. perfect schedules. Let's get the winner of this one back in maybe February of next year, late February of next year, 8 weeks after Christmas and New Year's, you know what I'm saying? Get the winner of Volkov versus Tybura back in February of next year. That would be pretty cool. And then let's just build up another contender slowly, because the winner of that one eventually can maybe welcome up a Tom Aspinall after, let's say, he beats a guy like Blagoy Ivanov. If he beats a guy like Blagoy Ivanov, you'll see Aspinall move up to maybe number 9. Maybe even if Chris Dalkaus beats Shamil Abdurakhimov on this same card, and I'll go through that prediction maybe at some point. I don't know, maybe I'll just do a fighters to watch out for and include Chris Dalkaus. But if Dalkaus beats Shamil Abdurakhimov, I guess you could do the winner of that sort of semi-finals at the end of it versus Dalkaus for a title shot after we figure out whatever mess is going on in the heavyweight division, because right now, Miocic wants a shot. Derek Lewis is going to fight Miocic, I reckon, next. It's perfect matchup for a title shot as well, I reckon. Cyril Gane, he is going to earn a shot. He's the interim champ. He has to get a shot next. And is Jones coming back at any point? These heavyweights are going to be stuck in a logjam. So we'll see who makes it to the top of that logjam, I guess. It's going to be one of them. It's going to be Dalkaus, Aspinall, maybe a Rozenstruik, maybe a Blaydes, maybe a Volkov. We'll see how it goes. I reckon it won't be Tybura. Spoiler alert for my predictions for 267. Either way, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.